CEP Weekly Buzz. I'm Tom James.
And I'm Sullivan Hogan.
This week's Buzz is in partnership with Conrad Tree Services, Patriot Waste Containers, and TV20.
Wilmek Construction is a leading general contractor in the Ocala and surrounding areas. A team of fully licensed professionals with over 3 decades of combined experience in the field, this team can tackle everything from large, complex projects to smaller scale jobs.
Our biggest focus here is residential, commercial, and equestrian property. Either new construction, full development, remodels, additions. We can also help you with the purchase of the land through the full development, and also be able to take an existing house that may be outdated or an old farm and be able to just totally rehab it and still personalize it and make it yours.
Like this project, they didn't have the land. They knew a house they wanted to build. There was a printout from the internet. They said they like this. I found this lot, we purchased it, and then we created floor plans and we built.
At Wilmek, their core values are based upon the 3P formula of precision, punctuality, and professionalism. They're fueled by their commitment to excellence, and they go the extra mile to make sure their clients are completely satisfied with their work.
From the bathrooms, the positioning, people come in with a floor plan of just a bathroom that they like in an existing house and a kitchen on another plan, and we'll build the house around that. So we try to be as detailed as possible. Ocala is a huge melting pot of growth. There's a lot of people that's coming here from all over the world. The big focus is, the horse community, but also just the industry that's coming here. So we like the opportunity to be able to meet culturally and be able to grow in relationship. And we like the idea of, aging in place. The old home that parents used to buy, they kept for 40, 50, 60 years. Nowadays, people are always moving and moving and moving. So what we're trying to do is create that family home again.
Coming up this week, January the 26th, join the CEP, the U.S. Commercial Service Department of Commerce, and R&L Global Logistics to learn about the services available to help your business start exporting or expanding international sales at the Going Global with Your Business event.
Did you know goods are not the only U.S. exports? In fact, the U.S. exported services valued at nearly $767 billion in 2021. You will have an opportunity to learn not only how to market your services internationally, but also how your organization can export without even leaving Marion County. There's no cost to attend, however, registration is required by January 23rd to Bart Rowland. That's all for this week's episode of the Weekly Buzz. I'm Sullivan Hogan.
And I'm Tom James for the CEP, the catalyst for a prosperous community.